So apparently Sony is trying to take down one of Tencent's upcoming games. What's up guys, Jaboosle here, back with a brand new video, and I actually made a video quite some time ago covering the game that we're going to be talking about today. Now the game in question is called Light of Matrum or Light of Matarum. I'm not exactly sure how they pronounce it, but yeah, it's basically one of Tencent's upcoming games for PlayStation 5, for PC. It wasn't quite clear if this was going to come to mobile, but I mean it is Tencent, so I think the likelihood is pretty high, but it might not ever even get the chance to come to mobile because Sony is trying to take this game down. So today I saw a bunch of very popular gaming news article type places talking about how Sony has officially filed a lawsuit against Tencent to take down Light of Matrum, and the reason why is because, if you can't already tell, Light of Matrum has a very strong resemblance to one of Sony's most popular PlayStation franchises, and that is Horizon. Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West are two of Sony's biggest and most successful games in the last number of years, and because of that, I guess it kind of inspired Tencent to do their own thing with this sort of game. It's very weird. It's like prehistoric but also futuristic. It's a very unique setting. You know, you have like these prehistoric looking animal dinosaur things, but they're actually made out of like robotic parts and stuff. It's a very specific type of game, and yeah, you know, Horizon is the one that kind of made this popular, and now Tencent is trying to take their crack at it and make their own version of a game that is very clearly inspired by Horizon, and Sony's not having it. Sony does not want this game to release. They have made that very clear in this lawsuit. We're going to look into the actual details in just a second. So here is a quick look at an article by IGN. We're going to go ahead and read some information about this whole thing. It says the complaint, which was filed in California last week, alleges that Tencent's upcoming adventure game Light of Matrum is illegally similar to Horizon Forbidden West and Horizon Zero Dawn in everything from creature design to the protagonist to marketing materials. The complaint outlines numerous similarities, comparing various marketing screenshots from both games as well as the game descriptions. And it's kind of hard to disagree when you look at some of these images. Here's Zero Dawn, of course, here's Forbidden West, and then we're going to take a look at the Light of Matrum marketing material. It looks like it could be the third game in the series. Like it's basically a one-for-one copy of that art style, of the setting and all of that. It literally looks like it could be a part of like a trilogy with those other two Horizon games. Now going back to the article, it says, like Horizon, Light of Matrum takes place in a post-apocalyptic world overrun by giant robot dinosaurs who roam large, natural environments such as tropical forests, deserts, and snowy mountains. Humans, just like in Horizon, live in tribal groups and must fight the machine animals who also largely line up with those in Horizon in order to survive. Both games even feature red-haired women protagonists that wear very similar outfits and styles, and Matrum even has its lead sporting a device awfully similar to Alloy's. Again, Horizon has a very specific setting. It's post-apocalyptic, but it feels like it takes place in the past because you have that whole tribal aspect. You're using things like bows and arrows and stuff like that. You're fighting against dinosaurs, but then again, there's that unique twist where it's technically futuristic because all of these dinosaurs are robots and you have technology and stuff like that. So it's a very specific type of setting that I don't think we've really seen in any other games. So the fact that Light of Matrum has this exact same setting, and like they even mentioned, very similar looking protagonists and stuff, it's very obvious. Like, it's very obvious that Tencent wanted to make a Horizon clone, and when we keep reading the article, it makes sense why they specifically chose this. Here we can see it says, per Sony's complaint, Tencent allegedly knew exactly what they were doing here. Sony says that Tencent began developing Light of Matrum in 2023, and they had actually approached Sony at the 2024 Games Developer Conference to ask for a licensing deal to develop their own Horizon game. Sony turned Tencent down, but Tencent kept developing Light of Matrum anyway. Sony also claims that it approached Tencent informally to resolve the copyright dispute once they became aware of the game, but when they did so, Sony says that Tencent tried once again to license Horizon. Sony once again refused, and Tencent allegedly moved forward with the game's promotions and playtests. So that makes the whole thing very obvious. Tencent wanted to make a Horizon-based game with Sony, but Sony did not want to do that. They did not want to work together with Tencent in order to release a Horizon spin-off or whatever it might have been. So instead, Tencent basically went, you know what, let's just make our own game then, very clearly inspired by Horizon, very obviously similar to it, but we're just going to release it on our own. And this is not actually the first time that Tencent has done something like this. Back in like 2015, 2016, they basically approached Riot Games, which is one of the companies they actually own, and they said, hey, let's work together and make a League of Legends game, but for mobile. And Riot Games refused, so what did Tencent do? They went ahead and they made Honor of Kings. It was basically like League of Legends, but on your phone, and they went ahead and released it, and this made Riot Games super upset, and obviously eventually Riot Games would go ahead and make League of Legends mobile anyway, but that was long after, and because of that, Tencent basically ended up making one of the most popular games in history, Honor of Kings. It became huge and is still, even after all these years, one of the highest grossing mobile games of all time. It kind of sounds like they're basically doing the same thing now, but with single player games. They basically are looking at console and PC and seeing what's good. They go ahead and they're making their own version of it. They're trying to get that licensing deal, but then when the company says no, they basically just release the game anyway. And yeah, it's just a very interesting situation because, I mean, man, like Tencent, if any company could get away with this, and if any company could pay the fines or, settle the lawsuit, whatever it is, it's Tencent, right? Like, they basically have unlimited money. But it's just very interesting that, they're just going ahead and doing this to one of the biggest, gaming companies in the world, right? PlayStation, Sony, and they're trying to release this on their console too. The only two platforms, like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, that Light of Matrim is currently slated to release on is PC and PS5. So I have no idea how they were planning on getting this game on PS5 if they can't even get Sony's approval to actually develop the game. But yeah, crazy situation. Honestly, I have no idea how this is gonna go. I think most likely, maybe Tencent just settles out of court. Maybe they pay Sony a bunch of money to shut up, and then they just release the game anyway. But who knows? It's a really crazy situation overall, and it's definitely going to be an interesting one to follow. And it'll be interesting to see if they can actually keep developing the game, and if it'll ever actually release on mobile, for example, which is of course Tencent's biggest platform. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this whole situation down in the comments below. Do you guys think Sony's in the right? Do you think Tencent has done nothing wrong? I'm sure there will be a lot of opinionated people in the comments with their takes on this whole situation. Very interested in reading all of that. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're getting super close to 25K, like I basically have been saying for the last year. So yeah, if we could finally reach that goal, it would be really cool. But yeah, guys, that's going to wrap it up for this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And with all of that being said, thank you for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one.
Subscribe, motherfucker.